Exactly. That's the problem I have with a lot of the Christians that I see now. Like, a couple months ago, I got bombarded because I did an interview with Lady Mega, who happens to be a gay conservative guy. And they're like, you can't be associating yourself with the LGBTQ, blah, 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 if you're Christian, yada, yada. I'm like, doesn't it say in the Bible somewhere that you shouldn't judge somebody? That's God's doing. I'm like, I'm going to love and respect everybody. And I'm like, and we have to bridge that gap. And if you're going to push away the people that need help like that or want help, but can't because we shun them, because other people shun them, then we're never going to get anywhere. We're just going to be preaching to the choir.
Hey, Kim. Hey, John. Yeah, y'all's up there in Iowa, right?
That's right.
Iowa. I kept on calling it Idaho because, I have a friend that actually lived in Iowa, and I kept calling it Idaho to him. So I don't know. I'm just a dumb Okie. We don't really know much about Iowa. Actually, I don't know anything about Iowa. Flat with a lot of corn.
It's not technically flat with a lot of corn. Half the state is hilly, half the state is flat.
It's boring.
No. I get that. Oklahoma, people think Oklahoma is full of prairies, but we have everything we have deserts, we have prairies, we have mountains, we have, hills. I mean, everything. It's just, that piece of land that nobody wanted.
Yeah. Every poisonous snake and spiders in Oklahoma.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, we have a lot of things that can kill you. And that's just in the trailer park. So anyway,
I actually woke up with the brown recluse on my chest in Oklahoma. So
really, yeah, they're all over the place. My wife is scared to death of them, and I'm not. Probably because I was so poor, I didn't care about brown recluses. I've seen a lot more dangerous things than this. So, but yeah, she's constant. She's a spider. She makes me kill it, and I don't like. I know this sounds this is kind of demasculating, but I don't like killing anything unless I need to. I will kill anything. I believe in loving people and still being able to shoot them. I do believe that. I can love you and put a bullet between your eye if necessary. Killing things should not be an emotional response. But I just don't like killing animals or bugs or anything. But my wife she'll kill a spider. I'll catch it and I'll let it loose, but she'll usually kill it.
He better be lighting the house on fire if he sees a spider around my house, because I got bit by a brown recluse and that thing sucked. Like it literally turned my skin black. And I had I don't know, it's probably a silver dollar size wound. Yeah. And he bit me right on the buttocks. And that sucks too. Just because of it was actually right underneath my leg, like where the button of the leg feet. So right there.
Yeah, right in the cheek area.
And so to sit down and do anything, it was like, oh my gosh. And I had no idea what it was until I went to the doctor because it was turning black. And I'm like, they're like, oh, we need to cut this out. And I'm like, cut what, huh? And she did. She cut a huge circle and then put an X through it. And then she stuffed it full of stuff. And it was like, oh, no, I will never, ever not be scared of spiders. No.
Yeah, they're pretty gnarly. And I've been lucky. I haven't been bit, so I'd probably have a little different idea. But when I was a cop, I've seen people use their shotgun and shoot holes in their house trying to kill spiders and snakes. It's just crazy. And I'll go to that and I will literally catch the snake for them because animal control wouldn't do it. They wouldn't touch snakes. They just deal with dogs and cats. So I'd go and I'd catch the snake, and I'd release it. And somebody asked, well, is that venomous or not? I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I'm like, to me, I look at it like, listen, we're the alpha predators. So why should I be scared of a snake or a dog or anything like that? I mean, now I don't like anything close to my face. I mean, if it was close to my face, it'd die. I don't like people close to my face. So if you don't want to get shot, stay out of my face. Yeah.
That's the line right there. They touch your face, it's game
Yeah.
over.
I have a bubble. It's just I I remember when I first got I was a security guard. I was a bouncer at a club in college, and they were trying to be it's a bunch of young cats that owned the club, and they were like, well, what would you do if somebody came up and I was like, whoa, back up. Hey, you'd stop right there. I was like, you don't get closer than that. Nobody gets closer than that. I allow my wife to get that close and my daughter. That's about it. I have a large bubble and stuff. It's my safe space.
I'll remember that at the next Rear Awaken tour.
She'll
Yeah.
pop it.
That's what people. It's amazing. People, I've been attending. I've been attending since Michigan, and a lot of people have no idea what I do there. And I mean, most of you. And I'm like, I'll if I know them or something, I'm like, well, I do security. I carry until Leon was on the campaign. Then when he wasn't, I was like, I used to tell people, I'm like, I'm Leon Benjamin's fanny pack. I carry everything, including the gun, and but my job is it's easier being security when nobody knows you're security.
Right.
I can watch people and I'm really good at being a wallflower. I mean, I don't mind just sitting there looking weird, standing at a wall, because there's enough fanboys at these things that people are just getting all excited, taking pictures. And I don't have pictures. The only person I've ever taken a picture of is Jim Brewer. Actually, I took a picture with him.
Amazing. I love that guy. Was he in Branson?
No, he wasn't. I was hoping he was, but I thought he was going to be in the last couple, and he wasn't. And
I think he's on tour.
That may be it. Why? Because I saw him. He had a comedy routine down here at Clay's.
A
couple of months ago, and I saw him and I talked to him then. And it was like he's actually a really nice guy. I mean, and he remembers you. A lot of these people you talk to, their egos are really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're bigger and better than everybody else because people watch them. But there's a few people that they're legitimately good people, and it hasn't gotten to their head. Especially somebody like him that's been in it since the 90s. I remember watching him on Half Baked, and I was half baked. It was, but he's just. I mean, I went and saw him. He's like, I remember you. And so, he was just legitimate, there's a few people like that, like I just spoke to Lee Dundas. She's actually a good person.
Yeah, she is a sweetheart. And so is Thomas Renz. Those two are amazing. I love those guys. And Naputi, he's great, but he's been dealing with lawsuit after lawsuit, like down in his hometown, because he said that people shouldn't take vitamin C and D, and now it's been proven that it actually does help. And I'm actually having him on our podcast next Wednesday to interview him. I'm like, heck yeah. And it's those kind of people that I enjoy too, because they're not too snooty and they'll come on like podcasts like as little as mine, and they're like, I don't care, I'll come on hang out with you for a while. And they're sweethearts. And then you have, like you said, your snooty ones, but it's just
I'm not going to publicly out them because I'll still see them. And it's not my conference, so I don't want to do that. But the majority of them actually are pretty decent people.
Yes.
They're always friendly. I mean, the Whitehead, I can't pronounce the last name. That's it. They're awesome people. They're wonderful people.
Colton, he's such a sweetheart.
Colton's amazing.
Yeah. I actually thought he was. I was like, nobody's that friendly all the time. And that's what I thought about them the whole time. Because when people are friendly all the time, I'm like, there's something about that. And so I'm like, I don't trust that. And so it took me a while. And I'm like, they're actually who they say they are, And so, I was on the podcast for a while. And it was weird because David was liking everything I said. And I thought they were the religious type, and it wasn't that way at all. They were, and so I've learned it's been a journey. Through Christianity, because I was very judgmental. I didn't like Christians growing up, and when I became one, I really didn't like them. But I'm learning that they're not all the same. There are people that are Christian for the right reason, And it's not their belief system that I had a problem with. It was just that um, a lot of them live by Romans 12 the wrong way. Romans 12 says, like 12:3, it says, don't be conformed by the world, something like that. They like to say that phrase. It says you're supposed to basically be different than everybody else, but it's like they didn't read the whole chapter. And I'm like, that's not what that means. It's talking about your mindset. I mean, in Romans 12:4 or 12:5, it actually says, don't think you're better than everybody. And, go a little further down, it says that there's different bodies of Christ, meaning that we're all different. It's like, but if you really think, and I don't mean to turn anything into biblical lessons, because that's definitely not my go-to or anything. But if you're going to use the Bible as a weapon of mass division, at least know what you're talking about, because Paul wrote to the church of Corinth, 1 Corinthians 9:22-24. He said, I became weak to win the weak. I became all things to all men so that I can win a few. That's called adapting. Now, how can you adapt if you're not a part of this world? It was really intelligent. And Jesus knew. I tell people, I'm like, do you think Jesus walked into a tavern and spoke like a holy roller? It's like, I've been in a few taverns. I'll tell you. I was like, if people don't kick you out, they'll at least ignore you. I mean, it's just, but he knew to, I was an interrogator, and he knew to be able to talk to somebody, you have to make them feel like you're one of them. Not necessarily, you don't have to stoop to their level if they're, break the law or something. I'm not saying that. You can do that. I hung out with dopers when I was 17, and I didn't do drugs.
You're relatable to them.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the first time I've ever heard of somebody refer to the Bible as a WMD.
That's because I made it up. That's one of the things I got into one of the big arguments on Facebook. Somebody got mad because I said that. I was like, well, it is. They're like, well, and they started I tell you what, that when I say this, Colton actually said, he said, man, he said, I usually people post memes and stuff. He said, most people ignore words. He said, but when you throw words, it's like word grenades. It just starts a bunch of crap going on. People suddenly get offended, and I actually think it's because it hits them to their core, because I'm pointing them out. And people will come to, well, the Bible, it says he comes with like a sword and blah, 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 that stuff. I was like, really? Really? I was like, what I found, a lot of Christians, and again, not most Christians, not all Christians, I'm just saying a lot of Christians, the ones that really do Jesus an injustice, they never ask me questions. They always assume and judge and attack what I say, but they never ask me what I mean. They never ask me to clarify, and I'm like, they're like, well, it's supposed to divide. I was like, no. The division is not dividing the people. It's dividing the Pharisees. People from the Pharisees, that's what it's supposed to divide. It's not supposed to divide, Christians from everybody else. How do you get somebody to join your team if you say we're better than you?
Exactly. That's the problem I have with a lot of the Christians that I see now. Like, a couple months ago, I got bombarded because I did an interview with Lady Mega, who happens to be a gay conservative guy. And they're like, you can't be associating yourself with the LGBTQ, blah, 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 if you're Christian, yada, yada. I'm like, doesn't it say in the Bible somewhere that you shouldn't judge somebody? That's God's doing. I'm like, I'm going to love and respect everybody. And I'm like, and we have to bridge that gap. And if you're going to push away the people that need help like that, or want help, but can't because we shun them, because other people shun them, then we're never going to get anywhere. We're just going to be preaching to the choir. And so I always say, you know what? Find somebody that is not like you and try to have a conversation with them. Like when I did the drag queen show and I dressed in drag, and all the LGBTQ people are like, you don't know the history. You don't know what this meant for me. I'm like, come talk to me then. Let's talk. I even gave out my phone number. I do it all the time. Like, my phone number is 712-369-0939. I always give it out because I want people to call me and have that dialogue, because we have to have a dialogue like that, and we have to have a healthy debate, That's what society's missing today, is healthy, being able to have a healthy debate. Right now it's like, I'm right, you're wrong, and if you don't agree with me, then I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's us versus them.
Yeah,
Everything's us versus them.
Every relationship has to have an open line of communication. And if you don't have communication, whether it's in marriage, whether it's in friendship, whether it's in anything, work, you can possibly imagine, things are going to falter. And we are literally creating separation between communication with anybody else that doesn't believe the same thing we do. So, and we're fighting in America to be able to talk the people that are in the gray space. You, as politicians, you may be red, you may be blue, but the ones that are in the gray are the ones that we're talking to, not to the blue, white, or the red, or vice versa. That's the problem. Same thing within faith. You should talk to the atheist. You should talk to the sinners and communicate with them, because maybe you can understand and relate. Just like you as an interrogator, you could be able to relate to them to be able to get them to open up. And then perspective, they may change their opinion on what they actually had done at that point.
Well, not only that, speaking from experience for myself, like when I first came to Christianity, nobody really gave me the time or effort to put in what I needed. Like, I needed guidance, and I was hard around the edges. Like, I cuss, I swear, and the way I deal with confrontation is I yell at somebody, and then I come back and say, okay, I'm sorry, I got that over.
I couldn't say that about you at all.
But I mean, and some people take offense to that. Some people say I'm too harsh. Some people say that I'm not, I don't care about their feelings or whatever. And I'm just like, it's not that. It's just that I don't know how to talk to somebody other than what I've been doing for the past 40 years. And until somebody comes in and tries to guide me down a different path, then I'm always going to be that way. And that's the same with like anything. Like, unless you go off your regular path to help somebody else, you'll never change. Nobody will ever, we'll just keep going down the same path we are right now.
I said the other day, I think I made a little video about it, just like a 1-minute video that said that our country right now is like a marriage, one being Democrat, one being Republican, and we're taking care of a child named America, and we're all fighting for ourselves and forgetting about America. But if we all were to work together, we have different viewpoints, yes, but if we're all working for the benefit of America, we don't have to agree on everything, but we're still going to do what's best. That we're going to come to a consensus, because y'all know as parents, y'all, no matter how much you're alike you are, you're still going to be different.
Thank you for sticking around to the end. Hopefully I left you either enlightened, lightened, or moved by the experience. If you enjoyed what you saw, could you hit that like and subscribe button right there? And if you didn't, could you still hit that like and subscribe button right there so somebody else has the opportunity to not like what they saw? Thank you.